All righty. Let's see. Let's see how this works. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Timestamps. How is everyone doing? Can you see me? There you are. Good morning, Linda. Cece, good to see you, Katie. How is everybody doing? Teresa, good to see you. How has everybody's weekend been? It's been whew. Samantha, good to see you. Yes, I don't know if you can see my eyes, but it's been like waking up this morning. I was just like, man, can I just stay in the nice garden? And I was just like, nope, time to wake up. How has been the weekend for you guys? Because it's been nothing but transcribing for me. How's everybody feeling too? Energy's certainly picking up. I don't expect a lot of people, honestly, for this one. So, but it'll be fun. There's so much energy moving. It's actually a very beautiful time. So there'll probably be some prep, but crazy anxiety. Interesting. Yeah. Dragging a little. Yeah. Yeah. All those. I concur. The anxiety part, that's interesting. So, anxiousness. Yeah. So there was this, what happened, because it was this interesting moment. So we had the eclipse. How do you say your name? Because I'm gonna butcher your name. It's Martinique, right? I hope that I said that right. But the energy was on the eclipse was very, very beautiful. Like it would kind of felt like it was that really gentle kind of, not gentle actually, it's actually very potent, but transformative. And it was moving, but it was also like this very keen kind of like, be careful with your energy, because it was very easy to manifest, or not manifest, but to like put something into place. So originally I was going to do like 3 videos yesterday, but one of them was, and this connects to your anxiety part, was facing the dark. And I'm just like, I don't know if I want to do that today. But so it ended up not happening. But it was very interesting, because that was everything that's kind of coming up, is the end of, I would say, ignorance, but also acknowledging, or not even acknowledging, just becoming aware that there is quite, especially the more and more you embody, the more and more you're noticed. So it's just part of it. Not really a big deal. It's most of my childhood anyways, but so if you're feeling that, it's like, I had a friend and we had a conversation, and she's gorgeous, but like when we were talking, to use her words, it was just like, spiritual hygiene is very important. I'm just like, yeah. So South Spain, nice to see you and feel you. Where's everybody coming from, so that we can tap into the land? Yeah. Connecticut. Oof. Nice to feel the East Coast. Minnesota. All right, so we've got the land of lakes and the land of rivers. New Hampshire, the land of forests. Okay. And then we've got South Spain. So, whew, that's gorgeous, gorgeous energy. Montanique, do you want to say where you're from? And Linda, you don't have to. Just connecting in the land that you guys are on, so the lands can run a little bit, breathe a little bit. New Hampshire, yeah. Yeah, it can get intense like that. Live free or die. So it's been interesting. Well, how about this? How about we spend like probably like 7 minutes, just until like 9, 10, just welcoming all the energy in. Everybody gets set, wake up a little bit. And then we'll get prepped or whatever wants to come in. Then we'll go from there. Oh, geez, Linda, you're in the Grand Canyon. Caribbean island. Oh, yeah. Oh boy. Okay, so two actually very similar energies. Oh man, that's fun. Grand Canyon. Oh man, that's that's a lot of energy. There's like books of that. So, and then the Caribbean. Talk about mother's waters. That's very, very potent energy. So we're all everybody's on some very special land. So you guys are this is going to be very, very fun. Getting into the land, you guys all got really good places. All of it. And that energy of each of those is just whew. Minnesota, I've never been, but I've talked to people who are pretty aware, and it's fun to feel the energy through them. That's always kind of like fun. Just like, oh, I can feel it. Like I can feel the land through you. That's always such a gift to have that. So, um, but that's all of our land and talking with land and being in the land and all that kind of stuff. That's what I'm all about, but also feeling the land. So, funny story. So born in Colorado, I moved up to Montana. And prior to my initiation in 2023, people who would help me and I do sessions with and all that kind of stuff, they couldn't feel the land in me. And so that was interesting to look back on and be like, huh, okay, so I was in Montana. I was pretty intuitive even then, but it was just like, no, like when you were talking to me or anything like that, you couldn't feel the mountains. And then I had the big initiation with Montana, which was like actually talking to the land and be like, oh, I've never done an introduction. And once that happened, it was just like the people that I was close to were just like, oh, now I can feel the mountains in you. Now I can feel it. And just like, yeah, now it's there it is. It's just like, so it was a clear sign that you can feel like when you get tapped in. So it's always kind of fun. But so we've got the eclipse. I believe it happens in about, not the eclipse, excuse me, the equinox. The equinox probably happens in about, I think it was 11, maybe 12. So that's going to be in about, yeah, about an hour after the stream. So equinoxes are always really important. And I always love fall. Fall, well, obviously, because you've got Orion showing up. So when Orion shows up, that's always fun. And then so it's the fall energy, so it's that kind of soft and sweet, but it's also the balancing. So how many like going through it, and especially since we had like the new moon and the transition over to Libra and the eclipse and all of it was like facing all of that, and it's like, oh, okay, so now it's like the balancing act. But right before, I don't know how everybody else's weeks were, but it was kind of like, it was pretty intense. Right before would be showing you all the balancing, the places that need balancing. So if it's like an incredibly dense week or intense week, yeah, the energies can help support that, but it's also like a mirror. So this week was kind of like, I had a bunch of messages. That was kind of like, it's kind of intense, but it was good. It was very good. There was a lot of balancing that had to be redone, but it was very, very fun. So perfect. Well, how's everybody feeling? What does everybody feel going into this before we just jump in? Because I have no idea where we're going, but we're going to prep for the equinox. That's all I know. So, anybody want questions or have a story, anything like that to start to get the energy to build? Okay, then we'll jump in. All right. Yeah, you too, Samantha. These are always fun. I was kind of like, I'll do it live. Yeah, I'll do it live. Yeah. Yeah. Well said, Linda. Very, very well said. Um, I Miss Heather, good morning or good evening or yeah, midday. Let's see. To okay, before I get into the story. As a DF, hurt my back, so currently grounded. Needed 100% nervous. Yeah. And Suzanne is on the road. Good to see you, Suzanne. You get to take us everywhere. You get to be the little messenger, the bird on the wings of the energy. So, yes, nervousness, reset, timeline jump. Okay. Actually, there's going to be a video about this. This is perfect. All right. So, quite the energy. So, yeah, we'll go there. So there was this something that happened. So this was part of the let's see, the lead into the eclipse. So not the equinox. So that would have been Saturday night. So dreams for me are like one of my gifts. Um and when that comes in, it's always like a message. So that was like, I think most people know the story of the mountain. If you don't, you can look on the website. I have that story. The energy didn't really transfer, but there is that story of the mountain where I got that nightmare. So, anyways, this one came in a little bit stronger and it was very confusing. So, it was very, very potent. And how it was transcribed was that it was the river and the crabs. So it was very clear that it was the orange crabs. And when I woke up, I'm just like, whoa, that's a lot of energy. I don't know what that means. So actually sitting with it and seeing what was being like woven in was the new avenues. So crabs are the ecosystem engineers. So and if you go back, I mean, they're old, 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 old. So their evolution is quite familiar with deep, deep processes because they've been around for so long. So in the dream, it was about the stream of water, and then they were working and creating new offshoots. So then coming alive and being like, okay, this is different. This is the new where we're stepping into. So feeling that energy, especially on the turn of the eclipse and where everything's going and where the energy, and this is a time when the energy settles, right? So the equinox, if you can recognize it within your body, it's kind of like this time where the energy kind of levels off. Now, summer is great because summer's high, right? So you can get like how many times do you have like those big adventures? And I know down south in Australia, like they are just heading into the summer months. So it's like that high energy, long day. and you can leap bounds, and there's a lot of things that are done. I don't know about how everybody else is, but like towards the end of summer, my system is usually kind of tired. I'll be like, oh, geez, that was a lot of stretching, right? And wintertime is the opposite, right? It's a lot of compressing. And then the modern day to day is to try to get you to do as much work as possible when your system could be sleeping. So if you think about it, the holidays, why is it so stressful? All this kind of stuff, the busyness. Traditionally, like your body's kind of like, we should be integrating. Like this is like close, like come back. And now we're in this like even keel. So the even keel is beautiful, but it was also kind of like everything kind of sets, and then you can see far ahead. Be like, where is this all going? And so feeling the energy and seeing where the river is running, that was the interesting thing, because I'm just like, okay, we've got this much months, and so if you want to do it practically, you can look at your life and be like, okay, I've got, this date is very important coming up. I've got so and so's birthday coming up, um, and all this kind of stuff, and then the magic, for lack of a better term, the flow of energy is kind of like it's there, but it's like a slow buildup, and that's how I interpreted it. So this change, something changed, something big changed, because it wasn't that way anymore, and the offshoots were just like new avenues, new relationships, everything's coming in. And in some ways it was like this was an like directly off the I would call it flow itself. But when you see that flow of energy, like if you ever go into meditation, you can go into that and feel it. And when you do, like just look at it, and that flow of energy, that river of life, man, it's gorgeous. So these new avenues directly offshooted of it. So directly tapped in is probably a better word for it, because it's not a siphoning energy. It's like a direct tap in to it. So these are new avenues. These are very, very potent, and they're all coming in, and it's very, very fun. So I'm just like, whoa. So that's a change. That's a big change. Um, and I feel like that's the gift that in some ways is brought from the equinox, not from the equinox, from the eclipse, because the energies, there's something that changed. There was something that flipped a switch, just like, whoa. And then we'll call them the energetic engineers, were kind of working. I'm just like, whoa, it's very interesting. So, um, it is interesting to watch, but you need to have the space to be able to tap in. That was the thing. Like that was some of the crab energy, and then um, some of the bee energy came in that dream as well, which was interesting because I got stung on the hand, and when I felt that, I'm just like, okay, what is that? So it does feel a lot of the changeover, and the energy that's coming in is quite beautiful, but it's all new, and it's like tapping into new streams, but you have to be able to open up to it. Um, so it is interesting to watch that, and then the equinox energy is always kind of like a place of calmness, like it's like right setting your feet. That's how I always interpreted it. It's always a beautiful time. It's always setting your feet. Orion's in the sky in the morning, so it's always kind of like, oh, man. So when you have this time of year, I feel like is always kind of like set your feet, take a breath, let it all settle, let it balance. And it's just like be in the balance, because the sun, like light itself, is going to be balanced. So participate. And when you do, it's just like, "Oh, okay, I've got it. I've got it." And then you recognize it. And then it's setting your feet to continue into that. I would almost say cocoon, but at least in the northern hemisphere, um, going into the dark. So yeah, migratory winks. Yeah, the preparation, all going to the south. Yeah, yeah. we're getting down in Colorado, we're getting the geese, and geese are, oh man, so special. I love geese. So, um, funny enough, if you're standing on the rim and the geese fly over, you can feel the energy change, and it is so nice. So, but we're probably getting some of the geese from your lands, Teresa. Lots of discomfort. Yeah, yeah. So this is going to be the whole like the lead into this really balanced energy is also showing where all of the blocks are. Speaking from like where this whole week was and all the movement and all the like clicking into place and all that kind of stuff. There was parts within my system that were really, really tired. So they weren't used to handling that much pure energy. I got stung on my hand. Yeah, Katie. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You know, it's funny that I had a dream about it and then it actually did happen. Not by a physical bee, like one of the bees drowned in some water and I was doing grouting. And like when I picked up the sponge and I squeezed it, its stinger had gotten loose from its body and it like stung me right in my hand. I'm just like, geez. Well, I mean, you did give me the dream. I guess I needed it in the physical. So thanks for that. um, let's see. The bee energy has been amazing lately. I have had Arena bee princesses and all reflected in my songwriting before I even realized. Oh, I love that. Absolutely love that. Bee energy is like very, very interesting and very calming. Actually, it's like it holds a very interesting charge. I love it. And with the bees, actually tracing it back. So here's what you can do. You can take the energy because I work a lot with natural systems. So that being mountains, streams, rivers, waters, like those are the places I go, and then like the spirit animals. So like when the animals come in and talk. So the animal world. Those are a lot of what I do. So but you can take the anthropological and start to trace it back because if you want to go to like when this all was set up, that's a lot of my energy, like following the original song, right? So go back to when all this was set up. That's the fun energy, right? So when you trace it all back, what's interesting is that bees and ants, and I believe also termites, I could be wrong, all come from the same ancestor, which is actually a carnivorous wasp in the Jurassic period. And feeling that energy is just like, well, when people say I love bees, but I don't like wasps, I'm just like, well, they're brothers and sisters. And just like they actually come from the same ancestor. Very different energy. I mean, everybody can see that. Nobody likes handling wasps. Bees, bumblebees, all that kind of stuff. It's interesting to see it. So that energy and then tracing it back, you get some of the original blueprints. But honey and the geographical, it's always kind of fun. And then the organization and some of the colony aspects, very interesting to kind of feel into that energy deeper and deeper and deeper, and then connect it to what they're actually holding and what they've always done and what the evolution has come in. So Samantha, love geese. Yeah, fly away home. Yeah, my city is full of Canadian geese. Yeah, yeah, lots of honking. Yeah, geese are great. I never really understood it because they were always just there, and it wasn't until I became like a little bit more aware of the energies, and then I'm down in the Southwest, so we don't really see geese. And then I think it was like a month or so, maybe 2 months ago, like they flew over, and I remember I was doing some energy work with the land, and I'm just like, whoa, that was different. And just like, holy crap. It was just like and the triangle. And they hold so much love. I love it. What's up, Matt? Nice to see you, man. Welcome. I saw you did something for today too, or you did a video. But the birds have been my friends this year, and they're saying farewell. It felt yesterday. The falcons, the hawks, the vultures, all together yesterday in the sky. I saw a pair of geese the other day honking by. Oh, that's beautiful. You even rhymed a little bit. The birds, I will say this has been a bird shank sanctuary. So feeling the birds and how they work is really, really potent, and they are really special. So the more I listen to the birds and the more, seeing what they carry is kind of like it's been very, very fun. So bird energy is incredibly potent, and also very, very protective and very initiating. So you have, um, so out here it's like a bird paradise. I mean, there's so many different types of birds. We have, finches to all the way up to eagles. Yeah, I actually saw eagles out here, which is very unusual for the Southwest. Hawks to vultures to ravens to there's even crows in town. So we have crows and ravens, to great horned owls. Yeah, we actually have a pair of great horned owls out here, and bluebirds and blue jays, and then Stella jays. So there's so many birds out here, and they all carry different energy and different wisdom. And it'll be interesting interacting with land and doing a sacred land walk where you're actually walking through, and then it'll be interesting to see what pops up and what is gifted to you. So, because, of course, there's feathers everywhere, and some feathers that are on the ground are not for you, and some are. So it is funny to watch it and be like, whoa, okay, that's a lot. So they hold a special charge, and I think they're very important for this time as well. So I mean, it's not just this energy. This is the next couple of years. We're entering in a different stream. So where the build up for that energy to really take off is going to happen in the winter solstice. As we jump into 2026, you can feel that build and be like, "Ooh, man, that's going to be fun," because it's really building. So Saturn, nice to see you. I work with the land too. I think we work similarly. I've incorporated them into my work with others too, with permission. Yeah, and it's lovely. They're so healing and wise. Oh man, yeah. I would love to. Yeah, should talk sometime. Feel what's how you feel with land, because it. Oh man, it demands all your focus. I will say that. When you get like pulled in, it's just like, oh shit, like this is going to be all my focus, and then it becomes a we. So it's just like, oh, like Connor's. What was the thing that happened a couple weeks ago? Oh, Connor wants to do like watch a movie, and then the land's just like, nope, you're coming here to SWAT. And I'm just like, "Oof, okay, that's fine." So let's see. Wasp energy is good for training the nervous system with self. Yeah. Yeah. Wasp energy is good. And it's good for their venom, actually. So I've gotten stung by a wasp out here when I was working with a horse. So I was feeding a horse, and love this guy. So I was talking to him. He's a very funny horse, and he's a little bit of an asshole. So that's why I love him, because he's going to challenge you. So I was getting his food, and I was trying to get him to come over, and he took one step, and then he was talking to me, and he wouldn't move anymore, and then he was like moving his head, and I could clearly tell he was trying to tell me something. I'm just like, "What are you doing?" And I put my hand on the thing, and then a wasp came up and just went boom right on my. It was right on my trap, and it just stung me. And then he kind of like danced around in a little circle, and I'm just like, "Oh, that's what you're." And he was clearly laughing. That energy, when that venom kind of ran through my system, I'm just like, oh, what a gift. Because it cleared out more than I thought. And it was clearly the wasp was just protecting its nest, but it was also like feeling it run and course through my system. And just like, whoa, that was a big protection. And that was a big clear out. So I would say, like, obviously you're dancing on death's door if you deal with venom, but like when it happens, it's more of a gift. And that's coming from a Scorpio. So take it with a grain of salt. But um doves. Ooh, so you've got some energy coming to meet you today, Amy. Oh man. California condors. Yeah, tarantula. The spider energy has come in. The story that I need to write is the spider and the raven. That came in recently in a big vision about the condors. I would look into the eagle condor prophecy, Linda, because that's you're living it. If they're meeting you, I'd be curious to see if eagles come to see you. Uh, in your tent, I helped him calm down and then found out his way out. So cute. He watched me. Oh, I love that. Matt was just outside watching and receiving medicine from hawks, cardinal feathers. So red and then hawk energy. Yeah, that eagle shot. But I do feel like the bird energy is really coming in strong for this next stage. I don't feel like it's going to be like 5 years, but like the next coming years, like probably a year and a half. Like they're really watching and really helping on a lot of different energetic levels. So if you have that, like work with them because they're really going to help. Um, so uprooted me, yeah. Um, Work with wasps, and as soon as I disconnect from the energy, they leave us alone. Yeah, yeah, I love wasps, but like there's you can always work with them. Let's see, doves. Yeah, yeah, they're coming in quite strong. They're really fun energy, actually. So if we want to talk about the bird energy, because you have the cardinals, what was the recent signal? Because you had a yellow, it wasn't a yellow finch, but he came in and he had a touch of green on, and it was like showing the lead into this because it was going to be clear that there was going to be a lot of density leading into this, but then it was going to be very quite beautiful. So great horned owls and an eagle soar over the river. Yeah, I love that. Owl energy is very of the night, so they can see right through, and they also it's fun to participate in the energy. I'll say this last part, and then we'll probably need to go back into the equinox energy. Um, so when you're talking about birds, well, if you're connecting to different energy streams, you can start to get into that sibling rivalry a little bit. So when I first identified this was when I was a kid because it was just like I loved crocodiles, and I loved caimans specifically, and I hated snakes, and I really did not like big snakes. So anacondas, pythons, boa constrictors, and going to the library and following this fascination and seeing that the snakes like eating the caimans. So anacondas regularly prey on caimans, and I hated that, and I was just like, and I felt it because I'm just like I know the crocodile energy. And then when you had that big event in Florida with like the gators and the pythons, like it felt it because I'm just like, oh, and it felt like sibling rivalry, but you can also the energies can get really distorted. And I was just like, I want to like I'm on the side of the crocodiles, right? So you can see where the energies kind of get, and then you're the point where you have to balance it out and be like, okay, don't get wrapped up in the big energies disagreements. So to weave that into birds, when I had this really angst against owls for a long time. And then it was actually feeling where that came from. And it was a lot of distrust and all that kind of stuff. Well, owls will regularly prey on ravens and crows. And they'll have this bitter feud because crows and ravens are incredibly smart. So they'll actually go to the owl's nest and deliberately keep them awake so that in the night they can't hunt them. So it's very, very funny to watch it and be like, so getting that and then removing yourself out of that kind of like stream where you can be like, I don't really like this energy. Be like, okay, I'll be the balancing point because I don't need to be part of that. So It's just fun to witness it because it does play out in the natural world, and you'll feel it in the energies. Like, if you talk to one energy, it's just like, "Ah, I don't really like that one." So it's like, "Okay." Like, "It's okay. You don't have to like it, like, we'll work with all of it." So, owls, yep. Yeah, I love that. Welcome to the energy. So, have you noticed a major dynamic exchange of energetic themes? For me, I observed a conversation and shifted my dreams last night. Yep. I gave a relationship talk to my DM and took on career. What do you mean by took on career? Have I used what do you mean by took on career? But to get back to that, did I notice an dynamic exchange with energetic themes? If you're talking about specifically a counterpart, there's a huge shift and there's a huge wake up. Yeah, there's a lot of energy being poured into all those connections. That I did witness on Friday. But if you want to talk about the greater stream of everything, like the big energy, yeah, there was a huge shift. And there's something shifting and continuing to be created because it's not done yet. So if you tap into the energy, you can start to feel it. There's new energetic streams that are coming into the physical that are tapped in to the I just call it the river of life, but it's like the real pure stream of energy from everything. I can describe that a little bit clearer, but like there's new offshoots, new energies being tapped into that stream of energy, and it's being flowed in. And the bridge point to the physical is your ability to connect into it. So if you feel it, because it's very clear that these new energy extremes are like something completely different. Um, Not completely different. How should I say it? There's something that is kind of coming by surprise. So that could be all encompassing. So I've seen it as new relationships, new dynamics, new sources, new things flowing in. The stream to the actual primordial stream, the love itself is really flow, and like these are new avenues where you have in some ways a shorter route to that direct stream, and they're flowing in new ways. So they're hitting new territory. So that is like it's new. That's the best way I can describe it. But they're also just now they're babies. They're just being made. So the energy, like the energy rushing through them is, in some ways it's not flowing yet because that connection point is still coming in. And um it's amazing to see it. But to participate in it is also feeling it and being like, whoa, this is big because your life, I don't know, tap into that because there are some, I would say, opportunities. It's not like it's going to hit you in the face. It's going to be something that you tap into because it's being tapped into. So let's see. You can do a good owl call. I love it. I have worked through the grounding in the Taurus the past 7 years and was isolated for so long without income. Focus now for me is career. Okay, so um, that unbroken stream, but also your soul path. So, like, yeah, it was clear you need to be isolated, and now it's like, in some ways, it feels like you're stepping in, but you couldn't step in before because it wasn't there before. Now it's there. So now you can actually really step up and into a new evolution of who you are, weaved from divine. So that's an opportunity, but it's also like you can feel where your focus is. But if you want to relate that to the counterpart dynamic, just to relate it back to your original statement, your focus being pulled somewhere else, that's beautiful. That's what I've seen. Yes. There's a huge shakeup in that. So, in some ways, it's the releasing to focus on your soul path that's like calling you forth. So, there's a lot of what I would consider trauma and prior belief release to help the connection sort of mesh, emesh, enmesh. The river is what I call it too. Yeah, the river of everything. That's how I've seen the energy. You can call it the primordial river or flow itself. That's also a really good one. Um, but it's that if you really get into it, it's just like it's always there. It's amazing. But yeah, there's a lot of things coming up to be worked on. But there's also like it's clear that this time, and it's going to get a little bit more potent, not to spread fear, but just awareness that it's also like, okay, like things are really, really busy right now. Spiritual hygiene is very, very important. Watch your thoughts, and especially when it's the density. Just like when you feel dense, question if it's yours or not, because there's a lot of things moving right now. So, and it's just to be aware of it. Like, you can't you can claim ignorance, and that's fine. Like if the energy you don't want to focus on that, and I'm not saying to focus on it because it gives it a little bit of power, but also to be aware of it. To be aware of it when it comes in, and you can trace it back to where it's coming from, and be like, okay, I know what this is. So that's important. It's leading into that too. And the energy around is very, very beautiful, and there's a lot of things opening, and there's a lot of things trying to grab at it too. So, all right. So, Equinox messages. What messages want to come in to do with the equinox for this beautiful time? Ooh, okay. Okay. I love that. That's fun. Okay. All right. So with this, how I see it, at least right now, it still needs refinement. But the first words were, it's kind of funny because it was, I call that divine humor. So it's just like, it's nothing new. So in some ways, this is something that's been set up a long time ago, and this is just flow. So it's just flowing. It's flowing from where it started, its origin point, and it's just flowing. So it's just like this is not new. So the words that came in was just like this is not new, Connor. So I'm just like, oh, okay. There's a little slap in the face. Got it. Thank you. So nothing new, but it's the flow and it's the stepping in. So you have this beautiful time, especially when the equinox kicks off, to really sit and tap into what has always been, what will always be. That's beautiful energy. There's the energy. Oh, there's home. Okay, that's home. Okay. So, and it's the build up, right? So, yes, we're going into winter and it's the integration and the activation, but it's also the build up to, I think the next big one is going to be the solstice. So, if we're watching it, because when I talk about the dance of two, a lot of it is like watching the sun and the earth. So, they're dancing. So these are big moments because these are big date nights or date days, right? The equinox and the solstice, I mean, they're big. So, um, and they always have been. I mean, everybody kind of knows that. So the build up into the solstice is in some ways clicking in all this energy that's not new, but the avenues, the new avenues being built or being tapped into and offered to you are. There it is. That's better. So, because that energy is very, very beautiful. So, there's new ways to address things and to focus on things and to brighten. and to dance, but also to work on problems, or what you would seem as problems is what I'm getting, because it's like the lead in. It's kind of like this is still the generating of the energy right now. We haven't really hit go time, but I wouldn't say the same next year, because these are big times where you can kind of feel what the guidance is to continue. So this is in some ways setting your feet, right? Like we talked about with the equinox, getting set, establishing those connections to that flow itself, to home, um, where it always has been, always will be, that unbroken stream of energy, that flow itself, and stepping in and the new avenues being built. I mean, that's a huge gift itself. So, and if you want help connecting into those streams of energy, like you connect into the crab energy or something else that comes to you. It doesn't have to be the crab energy, right? But that's what came to me. So like the biological engineers, or the engine and energetic engineers in some ways. So that would be, if you have something in your current life that is a quote unquote problem or a block. That's the right word, block. If you have a current block, then you have a new way to address it, because the energy needs to settle. That's the visual that's coming in. It's like the energy needs to settle, because it needs to set before we kick off. So, because it's always building, there's always a hum, and there's been a lot of resettling and letting the dust settle. And this time is beautiful to get set, to get integrated, to build the build up into the solstice. I really don't think that's going to be something beautiful, because it feels very, very close, but at the same time, it feels so far away because of how much change can happen in such a short time, because all this new energy can really, really pour in and tap into it. And the evolution can be something magical, not magical, unbelievable. That's the right word. So who you are now, and just witness it. If you want to take a little note, a little energetic reference point, take a moment right now and just tap into how your current system is running, how your current being is operating, and the pitfalls, and like the energy that you wish to work on, and then also to where you how you interact with the day, your current challenges, like all the blocks, like all that kind of stuff. Just take an energetic note, and you can even write it down, a little reference point, and keep it in your back pocket if you wish. Okay. And when the solstice comes up, just pull out that note and feel the difference, because in some ways it's like going into the underworld. Yeah, we're going into winter. I know down south where you guys are going into summer, um, and the balancing of that energies. But it's also like this is a big opportunity, not opportunity, turning point. Because in some ways it's not the kickoff, it's like setting your feet. There's going to be massive change though. But who you are now and who you will be come solstice, just take a note of it, because I have a feeling it's going to be drastically different, because it feels very close, just feeling the energy. If you tap into the sun and the equinox, and just like, I know we haven't hit the equinox, it's still hitting that balancing point. And then the next big one would be the solstice, right? So like feeling the dance between the sun and the earth. That's the dance of two, in my opinion. It's just like when you feel that, you're like, oh man. Yeah, it's what? October, November, December. So 3 months away. And in some ways it feels like, oh, that's tomorrow. And in other ways, when I reference my body and my current energetic framework, I'm just like, oh, that's years away. So it's just like, dang. So the two, when you feel that dichotomy, it's just like, oh, that means there's going to be some real big shakeups. But with this new energetic streams being tapped into the energy to connect in, and just be like, holy crap, that's not hard. It doesn't feel like a lot of work. That's why it feels like a lot of sleep. That's how it feels. The change happens when you kind of go to rest, because that's like mirroring going into that kind of like fall to winter energy, that cozy kind of like, at least in the north. I really want to get like a friend in the south so that I can start to feel the energy globally, because the seasons flip and it's opposite in the south hemisphere. Um, I was going to tell a funny story. Well, that's going to pull me out, so I can't. But it is a time where it's going to happen and just kind of like settle, and integrate all those and connect into those and watch the change. But you yourself, like, also break up those routines, those neurological pathways, and those energetic pathways that you have as well. So to tap into a new stream, you have to break up the old one. So that's going to be like the facing energy. And the last two videos that I did, like if you want some really good little nuggets, those are in there, where it's like every single moment is a chance to witness it and then just address it. So that's how you break up those kind of like old channels and old energetic pathways. Like for me, it was like from childhood, I had that addiction to despair. So that was like facing it every single moment and being like, okay, where does this come from? Blah, 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 blah. So that's going to be important because that will help settle everything. But the solstice coming in December um, feels incredibly important. And because it's the lead into something very, very potent. Because next year, like, I can't see that far ahead, but at the same time, like, next year feels like it's a lot of running and gunning. So, like, connection, gunning the energy, getting everything to settle, to move, like, doing your true work, shining really bright because 'cause you're the node in the world, so you have to be there. It's just like you have to show up, right? So, like, feeling that energy and, like, going through, being like, "Okay, like, I have to continue." Um, so that's the cliff note for next year, because of course, I mean, energy changes all the time, but like feeling the preparation of what this is pointing to, that's what I would say. So that's really beautiful energy. So I'll put a pin, a little bookmark on it, but um, connect back into the you guys in the chat here. Sumaiga, nice to see you. I've been wondering. Good to feel you, Sumaiga. Samantha, yeah. House of Dragons. I'm gonna butcher your name if I try to say that, so I apologize. I'll attempt it, just to not like cop out. Oh man, Sartnock. Is that right? How about the mountains? The mess is here. Did you mean Mesa? The Mesa or the mess is here is made by somebody who did some room cleaning and energetic engineering, some source connection. Can you describe that another way? How about the mountains? Well, which mountains? I know you are in what? Skinwalker Ranch, right? That area in North Utah? Or because it depends on the mountains. Honestly, mountains talks to mountains, but like if I was going to talk to the Rocky Mountains here, like you have the ones in Colorado, and they run all the way up down to Mexico, all the way up to Canada. So that whole mountain range, and they're doing something very, very different to the Appalachian Mountains that are just in the East Coast. Like if you want to talk to them, they're beautiful, but they're doing two different things at the moment. And then you have the Cascade Mountains out on the Pacific who are also doing something different. And that whole energy and what they're doing, they are working together, but they're also in completely different streams. But mountains talk to mountains. And then the mess is here is made by somebody who did some room cleaning and energetic cleaning, some source correction. So we have I don't know quite what you mean by that, if you could rephrase it. But if you want to get me on mountains, like I'll talk for ages. So mountain messages are my favorite. So they are really, really potent. And when you give them a voice, jeez, like you better have the container to hold that voice, but it's also like there's a lot of energy to be delivered. The mess that broke loose in the last 2 years in August. Okay. Um, Hmm. What about the mountains there? I don't know. I would have to tap into the specific mountains you're talking about. So, no, oh my God, there's no apology. Take back the apology. There's no need to apologize. Yes, it's good to feel you. Why all of a sudden it feels that everything is just so new, as if I don't know my older self anymore. Why? I don't know. It's the shift in the energy. Something shift over. Something big shifted over. So it felt like the energy was kind of set in a specific channel to go a specific way. And then it wasn't new because it was always supposed to go this way because they told me that. Like I got kind of directed that way. And then it was like, okay, but that changeover. And it's just like something really big happened and beautiful, beautiful energy. So it is a chance to look at that and to go. And it's also going to be a time. Oh, that's what it is. Self-reflection. No, that makes so much more sense. So the mirror, and no wonder we're talking about water all the time. So this time that we're going into, it's also the deep self-reflection to peel off to actually be able to connect into that pure energy. So no. Sumega, do you feel the same? It's not just the connection with the counterpart, which is so beautiful. No, yeah, it's so if you want to talk about the counterpart dynamics, there's a big shakeup happening with that. So there's a lot of energy being poured into it. You can witness it. So it's actually fun to witness it because there's a lot of love being poured into it. But it also requires your allowance. So that's the practice of flow in and flow out, of flow itself. Okay. But it's also way bigger than that. So the energy I'm talking about now is like the big energy. Like this is everything. So this hits everyone. This is the big energy. So it's not just that that one. It's not small. It's not specific either. It's not that energetic stream. It's flowing in all of it. All of this is happening, and all of it is weaving together very, very nicely. And it's very interesting to watch. But also the self reflection to do with the energetic stream and the connection point to it. So, but okay. So this went by fast. This was fun. How about how does everybody want to close? You want a mountain message since House of Dragons brought that up? And now I'm like all giddy because I'm just like, ooh, what did La Platas want to say? Or do you guys want to close it up with a little sun and earth love story or whatever? So, how does everybody want to close this up? And then get ready for your own equinox too. So it's coming in. So this is your prep. You get to connect into the love itself, the stream that always is and always was, and home, right? Connect home. Dealer's choice. Okay. Duh, 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 duh. Well, I always love mountain stories, but uh, mountain message. Okay, we'll do mountains. Twist my arm. You should really look at the sun and the earth today and feel what they have to say in terms of a love story. So, a love message. But, anyways, we'll do a mountain story. So, what do the La Platas want to say? What do the grandmothers want to say? So, first, a little explanation. So, the La Platas out here. Okay, there's the energy. Oh boy. Okay. So, the La Platas are. I am in Durango, Colorado. So, the La Plata Mountains are the mountain range just northwest of Durango. And then you have the San Juans, which connect into the Rocky Mountains that go all the way north, right? So Colorado is known for the Rocky Mountain range. So we have the San Juan Mountains, and then you have the La Platas, which are just west of me. So they're a little group of mountains, and they hold Durango. Now, if you connect into them, they are very grandmotherly. So I've connected into a lot of different mountains, and all of them have a different personality, and probably more than just the one I'm connecting into. It's my relationship to them that kind of personality gets shown. For instance, like I was talking to one mountain and she kind of felt like she had that kind of like jovial woman energy. And so that would be Columbia Mountain in Montana. Other people have connected into her and like felt a completely different personality and energetic stream. So it's probably my relationship. This is mountains. This is when you talk to mountains. And then when you go a little bit into the La Platas, it's like their relationship is very clear to it's like the grandmothers. So they're fun. They're also like have that grandmotherly wisdom. They also have that grandmotherly discipline as well. So feeling them, they were really happy. But today I don't really feel that. I feel some sternness. So which is okay. It's nothing wrong. Like we can be stern and we can be serious. So yeah. Okay. So and you're gonna get like this is localized. So I have to ask if they actually want if there anything because this could be related to the current local situation or even me. If they have something because mountains are big. Ooh, okay. So they have something for the Southwest, but I know not everybody's here in the Southwest except for Linda and Suzanne and maybe House of Dragons. I'm not sure. Don't mistake sternness for a mistake. So this is like a time to set the energy to know that it's serious. So the image that comes through, oh, that's actually really beautiful. And that has nothing limited to local or location. Don't mistake sternness and seriousness for doing something wrong or that it's a problem. It is sternness sets the framework. And now the way it's like running through me is that imagine if you had like a family dinner and then you have the kids running around and then the mom, more accurately the grandmother, says sit. That's the energy because the entire framework changes. It's no longer the play. It's no longer like running and dancing around the fire. There's now seriousness. We have to pay attention. Sit. Be still. Pay attention. We're doing dinner. The energy's opening. Pay attention. Get right. Get set. So that would be the gift of the mountains. So in this time, it is that stern, but don't mistake that as punishing, discipline, or doing something wrong. It is like setting the energy and getting right and getting set. So when you're in that, oh yeah, it's fun, or even shaked up in that kind of like, you're kind of sitting by yourself in this big family dinner out and you're playing with sticks or you're crying. That's a good one. It's kind of like, no, we're gonna sit at the table. We're sitting, the energy's coming in, sit, get set. So pick yourself up, that kind of energy. So that's fun. I haven't felt that before. So there's a little bit of sternness, but there's also that kind of like it's love, but it's prepare, come to the table and relax. So so with that, lovely grandmother energy from the La Platas um, in the Southwest. I give everybody here a lot of love and enjoy the equinox with the love of the dance of two and between Mother Earth and Father Sun and the balancing point. And also this beautiful stepping off point to get ready for this huge, huge transformation all the way to the solstice. So with all of this, I give you love. It is nice to be with everybody. And this was very fun. I might do this again. So I kind of came in to do this. So I was just like, okay, this was very fun energy. And I love the channeling that came through from that. So with that being said, happy equinox. I give you love. Shine bright.